Are you ready to uncover chilling secrets hidden in 10 haunted villages across the UK? From Eyam's tragic sacrifice to spirits that still wander shadowy lanes, these eerie tales may stay with you long after. 1. Eyam, Derbyshire. Nestled in the Derbyshire Dales, the village of Eyam is as picturesque as any English countryside retreat. But beneath the cobbled paths and stone cottages lies a haunting legacy, a tale of sacrifice, suffering, and spectral echoes that still whisper through its narrow lanes. Known as the Plague Village, Eyam made an unthinkable choice during the Great Plague of 1665. It sealed itself off to stop the spread, knowing full well it could mean death for its people. The plague arrived in Eyam via a flea-infested bundle of cloth from London sent to the village tailor. Within weeks, the tailor was dead and the disease began to take hold. Instead of fleeing, the villagers, led by Reverend William Mompesson and Thomas Stanley, made a collective, courageous decision. No one would leave Eyam to prevent infecting neighboring towns. What followed was 14 months of isolation and unimaginable grief. Entire families perished. Some cottages became silent tombs. Graves were dug in gardens. Over 260 of Eyam's 350 residents died, and some locals claim the spirits of those lost have never left. Locals and visitors alike report ghostly phenomena, strange cold spots near the Riley graves, whispers around the boundary stone where coins soaked in vinegar were exchanged for food, and sightings of mournful figures in 17th century clothing walking near the plague cottages at dusk. The ghost of Elizabeth Hancock, who buried her husband and 6 children alone, is said to appear at her family's graves in a silent vigil. Whether you believe in spirits or not, standing in Eyam feels different, heavier, quieter, as though the ground itself remembers. The village's choice to endure death, rather than spread it, turned it into a place of reverence, but also one steeped in sorrow and supernatural suggestion. Eyam is not just a village, it is a memorial, and perhaps a place where time still lingers. 2. Chisora. Ancient village high on the windswept hills of Cornwall lies Chisora, a mysterious Iron Age village whose stone roundhouses stand in eerie silence. Over 2,000 years old, this ancient site once bustled with life. Now it is home only to the cries of birds, the rustle of moorland wind, and some say the lingering spirits of its long-departed residents. Unlike most ghost villages, Chisora was never wiped out by plague or war. Instead, its people simply vanished from history. Historians believe it was abandoned sometime after the Roman withdrawal from Britain, but no one truly knows why. Some claim strange symbols carved into stones point to ancient rituals or even dark magic. The very shape of the village, roundhouses arranged in pairs, raises questions about who lived here and how they worshipped. Visitors often describe feeling watched, even in broad daylight. Cameras malfunction, whispers are caught on recordings where there should be none, and dogs refuse to enter certain stone structures. One recurring legend tells of a shadowy figure seen drifting between the houses just after dawn, a woman in ancient robes, silent and translucent. Locals tell of flickering lights seen from the hills above the ruins, though there is no electricity in the area. Some believe these are the remnants of ancient fires, momentarily visible through a crack in time. Others whisper that the village remembers who it once belonged to and is waiting. Though not as famously haunted as other sites, Chisora's isolation and age give it an atmosphere that stirs unease. With no roofs, no furniture, and no people, the roundhouses seem frozen in expectation. If spirits linger anywhere, it may be in places where the past was never fully laid to rest. And Chisora feels like exactly that. 3. Hworth, Yorkshire. To many, Hworth is known simply as the home of the Bronte sisters, Charlotte, Emily, and Anne, whose literary masterpieces were born in the parsonage that still stands at the heart of this moorland village. But for those who've walked its cobbled streets after dark or visited the windswept moors of Wuthering Heights, Hworth is more than a literary landmark. It is a place alive with memory, and perhaps something more. The Bronte Parsonage Museum is said to be haunted by the very family that gave it fame. Staff and visitors have reported hearing footsteps on the stairs when no one is there, doors creaking open slowly, and a female figure in a dark dress seen peering out from the upstairs window, believed by some to be Charlotte herself. The graveyard surrounding the Church of St. Michael and All Angels is the final resting place of over 40,000 souls, many of whom died from cholera and tuberculosis. It is said the ground is so saturated with the dead that nothing can grow there. Locals have spoken of ghostly voices at night, particularly around the Bronte Vault, where the sisters and their father are buried. But it's not just the parsonage that holds stories. The moors themselves, bleak, beautiful, and unforgiving, are said to echo with cries in the wind, disembodied whispers, and even phantom horse hooves. The infamous Wuthering Heights may be fiction, but the feeling of something ancient and emotional pervades the landscape. In Hworth, literature, death, and the supernatural weave together seamlessly. It is a village where the boundary between inspiration and apparition feels perilously thin, and where every creaking floorboard might just be a page turning from the past. 4. Minster Levelvel, Oxfordshire. Tucked along the banks of the River Windrush, the ruins of Minster Levelvel Hall evoke a romantic, melancholic beauty. Ivy-draped stones and crumbling arches tell of a bygone era of nobility and splendor. But beneath its haunting stillness lies a chilling legend that has refused to die. The ghost of Lord Levelvel, a nobleman said to have vanished within his own home, only to be discovered centuries later as a skeleton in a hidden chamber. Built in the 15th century by William Levelvel, the Grand Manor was once the seat of the powerful Levelvel family. But when Francis Levelvel, first Viscount Levelvel and loyal supporter of Richard III, fled after the Battle of Stokefield in 1487, he is said to have taken refuge within the secret passages of his ancestral home. There, according to legend, he hid for years, until he was betrayed or forgotten. In 1708, workmen renovating the ruins claimed to discover a hidden room. Inside was the skeletal remains of a man slumped over a table, still wearing tattered noble clothing. Was it truly Lord Levelvel, starved, or sealed to death by accident? The mystery lingers. Visitors report ghostly sightings around the site. A pale, gaunt figure in medieval armor pacing silently through the ruins. Locals speak of flickering candlelight seen through the broken windows and whispers in the long grass along the river. Some have even reported feeling suddenly breathless near the cellar steps, as though the very air is mourning. Minster Levelvel remains a favorite stop for paranormal investigators. EVP recordings have captured faint but distinct murmurs, sometimes repeating the word mercy. Whether it's Lord Levelvel or something older still, something in those ruins longs to be heard. 5. Polefail Ghost Village. Polefail stands apart from typical haunted villages, a modern ghost village born from broken dreams and eerie silence. Built in the 1970s near Portavadi to house hundreds of oil workers, it was completed but never lived in. The project collapsed before a single resident arrived, leaving a skeletal village of empty concrete blocks facing the relentless Scottish coast. For over 4 decades, Polefail sat frozen in time, a forgotten place where nature clawed back the land, and shadows seemed to stretch longer than they should. But those who dared to explore told stories that sent chills down their spines, whispered voices echoing down silent corridors, footsteps pounding on cracked floors when no one else was there, and fleeting figures glimpsed through broken windows. At night, the village took on a new life. Lights flickered inexplicably in the empty buildings, casting ghostly glows that vanished when approached. Cameras left to capture the darkness often malfunctioned, batteries drained without explanation, and strange static noises filled the recordings. Some explorers even reported sudden, overwhelming feelings of dread, as if an invisible presence was watching, waiting. Locals whispered of a man in old work overalls wandering the outskirts, a specter doomed to roam forever, trapped between what was planned and what could never be. Was it the restless spirit of a worker, lost to the crushing silence, or something darker, a curse born from abandonment and despair? In 2016, the village was finally torn down, but the stories didn't disappear. Visitors to the area still report unsettling sensations, cold spots where no wind blows, unexplained noises on windless nights, and the faintest echoes of laughter or cries carried on the sea breeze. Polefail's concrete bones may be gone, but the haunting silence screams on, reminding all who pass that some ghosts don't need souls to terrify. Sometimes a broken promise is enough. 6. The Villages of Lindisfarne. Nestled on the edge of Holy Island lies a small village with a rich history and a mysterious reputation. While the island itself is famous for its ancient monastery and Viking raids, the village holds its own collection of eerie tales and supernatural lore passed down through generations. For centuries, villagers have reported strange phenomena that seem woven into the fabric of their daily lives. On misty nights, shadowy figures are seen wandering silently through narrow lanes, glimpses of ghostly monks clad in old robes, believed to be the spirits of those who once dedicated their lives to prayer and protection of the sacred land. Local legend says these monkly spirits never truly left. Even after the monastery fell to ruin, their ethereal presence lingers, guarding the village and offering whispered prayers on the wind. Visitors sometimes hear faint chanting late at night, as if centuries-old prayers still echo in the darkness. The village's close bond with the sea brings another layer of mystery. Fishermen's ghosts reportedly appear by the shore, guiding boats safely through thick fog or warning of storms with mournful cries. These are believed to be the souls of those lost at sea, forever tied to the island's rugged coast. Even St. Mary's Church and the nearby cemetery are said to hold supernatural secrets. Sudden drops in temperature, flickering lights, and the sensation of unseen presences are often experienced by locals and visitors alike. Some graves are rumored to be restless, disturbed by unknown forces, adding to the village's haunted reputation. Though peaceful by day, the village transforms after dark. The thin veil between past and present seems to fade, revealing a place where history and the supernatural coexist. Villagers live with respect and cautious reverence for the spirits around them, understanding that these unseen beings are part of their heritage. This blend of history, spirituality, and lingering spirits makes the village of Lindisfarne uniquely haunting. More than just a picturesque settlement, it is a community where echoes of the past remain alive, quietly waiting for those willing to listen to their stories. 7. Borley, Essex, Borley Village in Essex is famous worldwide because of Borley Rectory, once called the most haunted house in England. While the rectory's eerie stories have long fascinated ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts, the village itself holds many unsettling secrets beyond that infamous building. Locals often speak of strange noises echoing through empty streets at night, footsteps, whispers, and sudden chills that seem to come from nowhere. These unexplained events suggest that the restless spirits connected to Borley Rectory may have spread their presence across the entire village. One of the most enduring legends tells of a ghostly horse-drawn coach that appears on foggy nights, racing along the village lanes with the sound of pounding hooves and creaking wheels, but no driver in sight. It is believed to be the spirit of a coachman who died tragically centuries ago, condemned to wander Borley's roads forever. The woods surrounding Borley are no less mysterious. Villagers describe hearing faint chanting and whispering voices drifting through the trees, sounds that seem human yet cannot be located. Many avoid walking in these woods after dark, fearful of encountering restless souls or darker entities lurking among the shadows. St. Mary's Church at the village's heart has its own share of supernatural tales. Parishioners report sudden temperature drops during services, fleeting apparitions near the altar, and footsteps in the empty halls. The ancient graves in the churchyard are said to be disturbed by invisible forces, further adding to the village's ghostly reputation. Even though Borley Rectory was destroyed by fire in 1939, the paranormal activity in the village continues. Ghost hunters still visit, capturing strange sounds and unexplained lights, feeding the village's eerie mystique. Today, Borley seems like a quiet, peaceful village, but beneath its calm surface lies a haunting history. The spirits that once haunted the rectory have woven themselves into the very fabric of the village. Visitors often leave with an unsettling feeling, as if unseen eyes watch from the shadows, a chilling reminder that in Borley, the ghosts of the past never truly rest. 8. Hayden Village, Norfolk. Hayden is the kind of village that seems untouched by time. With its immaculate Georgian cottages, no overhead cables, and no shops beyond the tea room and village pub, it looks like something out of a classic British film. And indeed, it often is. But behind this picture-perfect appearance, some believe Hayden hides a quieter kind of haunting. Unlike the overtly ghost-ridden places on this list, Hayden's eerie reputation is more subtle, whispered, rather than shouted. The entire village is privately owned and largely unchanged since the 19th century, a fact that lends it an oddly static, frozen-in-time feeling. Visitors often comment on the strange quiet, the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. Locals have told of lights seen in the upper windows of cottages that have been empty for decades and shadows moving across rooms with no occupants. One recurring story involves a young girl in Victorian dress seen playing in the churchyard, only to vanish when approached. Some say she's the daughter of a servant who drowned in the estate's old well. Those who follow her report feeling a sudden chill, as though stepping into air from another century. She never speaks, only smiles, a slow, sorrowful smile that some say stays with you for days. Others have seen her standing at the edge of the woods, looking toward the hall, as if waiting for someone long gone. The village church, St. Peter and St. Paul, has its own legends. Some have heard phantom organ music at night, even when the building is locked. Others describe a sensation of being watched while walking the church path at dusk, as if someone is peering from behind the gravestones. On certain winter nights, villagers avoid the path altogether, citing strange footprints in the frost that appear overnight. A few even speak of bells tolling faintly at midnight when no service is held, yet no one admits to ever seeing who or what rings them. Despite these accounts, Hayden doesn't promote its ghosts. Perhaps that's part of its mystique. It remains a secretive place, a village caught in a perfect frame, but one that might be hiding a shadow just outside the edge of view. 9. Hapisburg, Norfolk. Perched precariously on the crumbling cliffs of Norfolk's east coast, Hapisburg, pronounced Haysborough, is a village quite literally disappearing. Coastal erosion has claimed homes, roads, and entire stretches of land. But some say the sea is not the only thing that haunts this village. The ghosts of its past may be slipping into the sea with it. Hapisburg has always had a close relationship with death. Shipwrecks along its dangerous shores go back centuries, with countless lives lost to the unforgiving tides. The red and white striped lighthouse watches over what remains, but even it seems powerless to stop the ocean's slow advance. Locals speak of the wailing sailor, a spirit said to walk the beach in stormy weather, searching for his lost crew. Fishermen report hearing voices carried on the wind, some in Old English dialects no longer used. On foggy nights, lights appear out at sea where no boats are known to be. Once, during a storm surge, villagers claimed to see shadowy figures clinging to the cliffs, sailors from centuries past, forever trying to return to shore. Some say the sea itself hums with low chants, like the remnants of drowned prayers. There are whispers of a bell that rings beneath the waves, marking a shipwreck that never made it home. There are also stories of ghost houses, homes that once stood on the cliff edge, now collapsed into the waves. Some claim to still hear doors slamming, dogs barking, and even music coming from where those houses once stood. One resident swears she saw her grandmother's house, lost to the sea years ago, shimmering in the moonlight offshore. She watched it vanish beneath the surface like a mirage. The next morning, a photo of the old place, long thought lost, was found on her windowsill, damp with seawater. The village churchyard tells its own tale. Graves that once lay far inland now teeter close to the edge, with bones exposed by the ever-eroding soil. It's as though the sea is dragging both the living and the dead into its depths. Hapisburg is a place of loss, of land, of lives, of history, and yet it persists, defiantly. Perhaps that's why the spirits linger. Even as the earth beneath them crumbles, they're not ready to let go. 10th. Presbury, Cheltenham. Tucked into the scenic Cotswolds, the village of Presbury might seem idyllic at first glance, all honey-coloured stone and rolling green hills. But ask any local and they'll tell you, Presbury is not just quaint, it's crawling with ghosts. Often cited as one of the most haunted villages in England, Presbury has more reported ghost sightings than many entire counties. The most famous of these spirits is the Black Abbot, a hooded monk said to appear silently during religious holidays. Witnesses describe him gliding, not walking, through the grounds of St. Mary's Church, disappearing into the sacristy wall. He never speaks, never turns his head, and never seems to notice the living at all. Another local legend is the Charging Horseman, often heard thundering down Shaw Green Lane. Said to be the ghost of a royalist cavalryman killed during the English Civil War, his phantom ride often ends with a loud crash, though nothing is ever seen. Prestbury also hosts a spectral funeral procession, reportedly seen crossing the road near the village bridge. Silent mourners, clad in old-fashioned clothing, march by before vanishing into the night. Those who witness it describe an overwhelming sense of sorrow that lingers long after the vision fades. Many of the village's older houses are home to cold spots, unexplained noises, and even full-bodied apparitions. Paranormal groups visit Prestbury regularly, often leaving with chilling recordings and spine-tingling experiences. What makes Prestbury so haunted? Some point to the ancient burial grounds beneath the village, others to its history of war and plague. Whatever the reason, it is a place where the past has never truly passed, where the dead continue to walk among the living. If you loved these haunted tales, subscribe to Creepy Experience for more spooky stories. Share this video with friends who dare to watch, and tell us your own chilling experiences in the comments. We want to hear your ghost stories.